The stars vanished one by one as the massive ships moved into Earth's orbit. On the bridge of the UES Defiant, Admiral John Carter watched the main screen with narrowed eyes. The alien vessels were unlike anything humans had built. Sleek, dark, shapes that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. "Status report," Carter said, his voice steady despite the hammering of his heart. 7 vessels, sir, each one approximately 3 miles long. They're positioning themselves over major cities: Beijing, New York, London, Moscow, New Delhi, Tokyo, and Sao Paulo, replied Lieutenant Frank Miller, his fingers flying over the tactical display. Carter nodded. "And our defensive capabilities?" "Everything we have wouldn't even scratch their paint, sir," Miller answered honestly. The communications officer, Susan Blake, turned in her chair. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission they want to broadcast to all of Earth." Carter took a deep breath. "Put it through." The screen flickered, and a figure appeared. It looked almost human, but wrong in subtle ways. Skin too smooth, eyes too large and entirely black, mouth too wide. It wore ornate armor that glowed with faint blue lines. "People of Earth," the alien said in perfect English, "I am High Commander Vex Thor of the Dralaxian Empire. Your world now stands at the edge of glory. The Empire spans 3 spiral arms of this galaxy. We bring order, technology, and purpose to primitive species such as yours." Carter clenched his jaw as Vex Thor continued. "You have 2 choices. Submit to Imperial rule and live as productive members of our society, or resist and be erased. You have 30 Earth days to decide. When we return, your leaders will kneel before me, or we will turn your cities to ash." The screen went black. Within an hour, Carter stood in the White House Situation Room. President Sam Williams looked around at the assembled military and scientific leaders, his face grim. "Options, people. I need options." "Their technology is centuries beyond ours," said General Patricia Adams. "Military response would be suicide." "We could try diplomacy," suggested Secretary of State Owen Harris. "Negotiate better terms." "They don't want negotiations," Carter said. "They want surrender." Dr. Ellie Martinez, who had been quiet until now, looked up from her tablet. "There might be another way." All eyes turned to the quantum physicist. Martinez was not supposed to be in this meeting, but Carter had insisted she attend. They had worked together years ago on an experimental weapons project. "I've been analyzing the energy readings from their ships," she said. "They use a quantum field technology we've only theorized about. But there's something strange. They operate on a very specific frequency pattern." "What does that mean in English, Doctor?" President Williams asked. "It means they might have a weakness. Their energy systems, their weapons, their shields, all might be vulnerable to disruption if we can target that frequency." "Can we do that?" Carter asked. Martinez shook her head. "Not yet. But I think we could develop something. I need time and resources." Williams nodded. "You'll have whatever you need, but can you do it in 30 days? "I don't know," she admitted, "but it's our best shot." The news of the alien ultimatum spread across the world. Some people panicked, others prepared for war. Religious leaders called for prayer. Scientists worked around the clock trying to understand the alien technology. In her underground lab beneath the Rocky Mountains, Ellie Martinez barely slept. Her team of 50 scientists worked in shifts, testing theories and building prototypes. Carter visited often, bringing coffee and making sure they had everything they needed. "How is it going?" he asked on day 22. Martinez rubbed her tired eyes. "We've isolated the frequency. Now we're trying to build a device that can generate a counter-resonance field." "Will it work?" "In theory. But we've never built anything like this before." Carter put a hand on her shoulder. "If anyone can do it, it's you." Around the world, governments debated what to do. Some wanted to fight. Others were prepared to surrender. People built bunkers. Soldiers prepared for a war. They couldn't win. On day 28, Martinez called Carter. "We've done it. At least we think we have." The device sat on a lab table, smaller than Carter had expected, about the size of a microwave oven. "This can stop their ships?" he asked skeptically. Not stop them, but it might disrupt their energy systems temporarily. Enough to show them we're not helpless. She looked at him with tired but determined eyes. It's a start, John. If it works, we can build bigger ones. Carter nodded. I'll take it to the president. The emergency United Nations session on day 29 was chaotic. Some nations announced they would surrender. Others vowed to fight. Carter and Martinez presented their device and their theory. This is our only chance, Carter told the assembly, but it only works if we stand together. United. President Williams stepped to the podium. Tomorrow I will speak for Earth, and I will tell these Dralaxians that humanity does not surrender. The next day, as promised, the alien ships returned. Vexthor's face appeared on screens worldwide. People of Earth, your time has come. What is your answer? President Williams stood in the UN General Assembly, surrounded by world leaders. Martinez's device hummed quietly nearby. We have heard your terms, Williams said, and we have our answer. He paused, looking around at the representatives of humanity. Some looked afraid, others defiant. All waited for his next words. Humanity does not kneel, Williams said firmly. We stand. Vexthor's face showed surprise, then anger. You have chosen extinction. We will begin with your military bases and... Suddenly, his image flickered. Martinez activated her device. The blue lights on Vexthor's armor dimmed. For just a moment, the alien commander looked confused. What is this? He demanded. How are you? His transmission cut off. Carter turned to Martinez. Did it work? Before she could answer, Susan Blake's voice came through Carter's communicator. Admiral, the alien ships are moving. They're repositioning into attack formation. Get the president to safety, Carter ordered. All military personnel to battle stations. As he rushed out, Martinez called after him. John, the device worked, but only temporarily. We need more power, more units. Carter looked back at her. Then, build them. Because this fight has just started. Outside, the massive alien ships began to glow with energy. Earth's first war against the stars had begun. But for the first time since the ships appeared, there was a glimmer of hope. Humanity had found a weakness. Now they just had to survive long enough to exploit it. The sky burned over Denver. Dralaxian ships rained fire down on military bases across the world. Admiral Carter watched from the window of a speeding armored vehicle as explosions lit up the Rocky Mountains. How many did we lose? He asked. Lieutenant. Miller checked his tablet. East Coast Command is gone, Pacific Fleet too. Europe reports 60% casualties. Carter closed his eyes briefly. Millions dead in just 6 hours. Yet something puzzled him. Why haven't they used their planet killers? Reports said they've destroyed entire worlds before. Miller shook his head. Unknown, sir. Their vehicle entered a tunnel that sloped deep underground. After passing through 5 security checkpoints, they reached what was now Earth's main resistance base. Dr. Martinez met them as they entered the command center. Her lab coat was dirty and dark circles ringed her eyes. The device worked, John. For 90 seconds, it disrupted their energy fields. We need to make it stronger. You'll get your chance, Carter said. But first, we need to survive. President. Williams had survived the attack on Washington. His face appeared on the main screen, broadcasting from a bunker somewhere in the Midwest. The Dralaxians have established control zones in 20 major cities. They're bringing in ground troops. This is no longer about prevention. It's about resistance. Carter stepped forward. Mr. President, I request permission to organize guerrilla operations against their ground forces. Granted, Williams said. And Dr. Martinez? I need more scientists, she said, and parts from the Dralaxian technology. If we can capture some of their equipment, we might be able to improve our disruptor. Do whatever it takes, Williams ordered. Humanity will not surrender. Over the next month, Earth became a battlefield. The Dralaxians controlled the cities and the skies, but humans controlled the countryside and the underground. Every captured alien weapon was rushed to Martinez's expanding team of scientists. Lisa Reeves had once been the CIA's top field agent. Now she led a team of infiltrators. They watched a Dralaxian command post from the ruins of a Chicago suburb. "They're too tall and too pale," she told her team. "We can't pose as them, but we can get inside their systems." Under cover of darkness, Reeves and her team crawled through rubble to reach the building's power center. They attached a device Martinez had created, a small disruptor that would cause a brief outage. When the lights went out, they moved in. Inside the command center, Reeves downloaded data while her team set explosives. What she found surprised her. The Dralaxians were sending constant messages back to their fleet about scanning Earth for quantum signatures. They seemed especially interested in humans themselves, not just conquering the planet. Reeves barely escaped as Dralaxian soldiers discovered her team. Back at Resistance headquarters, she reported to Carter and Martinez. "They're studying us," she explained. "Looking for something in our biology, something about our brain patterns." Martinez's eyes widened. "The quantum fields their technology uses, they think we have some natural ability to manipulate them?" "That would explain why they haven't just wiped us out," Carter said. "We're not just another conquest. They want something from us." For the next 2 months, Martinez's team worked on improving the disruptor. With each piece of captured technology, they understood more about how the Dralaxian systems worked. Finally, Martinez called Carter to her lab. "We've done it. The new prototype can disable their systems for up to 10 minutes. And it's small enough to carry." She showed him a device the size of a backpack. "One of these could take down a shuttle. 10 could disable a warship." Carter picked it up, feeling its weight. "How many can you build?" "With the right materials. Hundreds." Carter smiled for the first time in months. "Then it's time to test it." 3 days later, a Dralaxian shuttle crashed in what used to be Wyoming. Resistance fighters surrounded it before more aliens could arrive. The disruptor had worked perfectly, shutting down all its systems mid-flight. Carter personally led the team that stripped the shuttle of every piece of useful technology. When they brought it all back to Martinez, she couldn't believe what they'd found. "This changes everything," she said, examining the alien engine. "Their faster-than-light drive works on principles we've only theorized. And look at this." She pointed to a star map. "These are their systems. Hundreds of worlds." While the scientists studied the captured technology, Carter prepared a daring mission. Intelligence had located a Dralaxian communications array near the ruins of Atlanta. If they could capture it, they might be able to intercept enemy transmissions. The attack began at dawn. Resistance fighters used the new disruptors to shut down the perimeter defenses. Dralaxian soldiers fought back with energy weapons, but without their shields, they could be killed by conventional weapons. Carter led from the front, directing his troops as they pushed forward. By noon, they had reached the central building. Inside, they found the communications equipment. "Don't destroy anything," Carter ordered. "We need it intact." It took 6 hours to secure the area and begin extracting the equipment. As the sun set, Carter received the best news yet. "Sir, we've tapped into their network," a communications officer reported. "We're getting their transmissions, and sir, they're scared." Carter frowned. "Scared? Of us?" "Not just us. Listen to this." The officer played a translated message. A Dralaxian commander was reporting to his superior. "The human resistance continues. We've lost 6 outposts this week, and the situation in the Orion sector is worse. 3 more systems have risen up against us. The Tharvos are fighting again. After 2 centuries of submission, the Empire is stretched too thin." Carter couldn't believe what he was hearing. "There are other rebellions? Other species fighting back?" "Yes, sir. And listen to this part." The officer played more of the message. "High Command fears the humans have somehow contacted the other rebellions. The Empire has never faced challenges on multiple fronts before. Our supply lines are vulnerable." Carter looked at his officers, a new hope burning in his eyes. "The Empire isn't as strong as they wanted us to believe. They're vulnerable, and now we know exactly where to hit them." As night fell over the ruined city, Carter made contact with Resistance headquarters. Get me the President and Dr. Martinez. We've just changed the course of this war. In orbit, High Commander Vexthor received the news of the lost communications array with growing anger. For the first time in 300 years of conquest, he sent an urgent message to the Imperial capital. Send reinforcements. Earth refuses. To be conquered, I request the deployment of Grand Marshal Ziravax. This world requires special attention. 6 months had passed since the Dralaxians first appeared in Earth's skies. Winter snow covered the ruins of once great cities. But beneath the surface, in tunnels and hidden bases, humanity had not given up. Admiral Carter stood in the new command center under the ruins of St. Louis, looking at a map showing Dralaxian-controlled territories. For the first time, the red areas were shrinking. Their hold on the western regions is weakening, he said to the officers around him. Our forces have reclaimed 4 major areas in the last month. The door opened, and a tall Dralaxian entered the room. Everyone reached for weapons before Carter held up his hand. It's okay, this is Krell. He's on our side. Krell bowed his head slightly. The defector had provided valuable intelligence since escaping from his unit 3 weeks ago. The new Grand Marshal has arrived, he said in his deep voice. Ziravax. He is known among my people as the Extinguisher of Worlds. He has never failed to crush a rebellion. Carter's face hardened. Well, there's always a first time. In her expanded laboratory complex, Dr. Martinez worked alongside a team of 200 scientists and engineers. The captured Dralaxian technology had accelerated human understanding by decades. They had moved beyond simply disrupting alien systems. Now they were adapting and improving them. Alan Wright, a former NASA engineer, approached Martinez with excitement. We've done it. The prototype is stable. Martinez hurried over to where a team was gathered around a device the size of a car engine. It hummed with energy, glowing with the same blue light as Dralaxian technology. Our first faster-than-light. Drive, she said with wonder. Does it work? Wright nodded. All tests are positive. We can install it in the Defiant. The UES Defiant had been Earth's first space battleship before the invasion. Now, hidden in an asteroid base between Earth and Mars, it was being rebuilt with a combination of human and Dralaxian technology. Martinez touched the drive gently. How long until it's ready for installation? 2 weeks, Wright said. Maybe less. Martinez smiled. Then it's time to tell Carter. Earth is about to take the fight to the stars. In what was once downtown Chicago, Grand Marshal Ziravax surveyed the human prisoners brought before him. Unlike the blue-skinned Vexthor, Ziravax had deep red skin and eyes that glowed yellow. His armor was more elaborate, covered with marks that Krell had explained were symbols of worlds he had conquered. These are the rebels you captured? He coup, asked the commander beside him. Yes, Grand Marshal. They were caught trying to plant disruptor devices near our main power generator. Ziravax walked slowly down the line of prisoners. I have conquered 36 species across this galaxy. None have resisted as long as you humans. He stopped in front of a young resistance fighter who glared back at him. I promised the Emperor I would crush your rebellion in 90 days. I intend to keep that promise. He turned to his commanders. Double the patrols. Scan every building, every tunnel. Find their bases and destroy them. I want their leaders brought to me. One of the commanders stepped forward nervously. Grand Marshal, we've detected unusual energy readings from their territory. They appear to be testing faster than light. Technology. Ziravax's eyes widened slightly. Impossible. They couldn't have adapted our technology so quickly. He was silent for a moment. Prepare my ship. I will lead the next attack personally. Lisa Reeves had spent 3 months aboard a Dralaxian command ship. Disguised as a human servant, she had gained access to their secure databases. What she learned changed everything she thought she knew about the Empire. Now back with the Resistance, she reported directly to Carter and Martinez. They didn't invent any of it, she explained. Not their ships, their weapons, nothing. The Dralaxians discovered an ancient technology 2,000 years ago. They used it to conquer other worlds, then took whatever technology those species had developed. They haven't created anything new themselves in centuries. Carter leaned forward. So they keep conquering because they have to? To get new technology? Reeves nodded. Their own systems are starting to fail. They don't understand how to repair the most advanced parts of their technology. That's why they're so afraid of us. Humans have adapted and improved their technology faster than any species they've encountered. Martinez looked thoughtful. That explains why they were scanning for quantum signatures. They think we have some natural ability to understand their technology, and we do, Wright added. We've not only replicated their systems, we've improved them. Carter stood up. Then it's time for the next phase. The Defiant will be ready in a week. We need to make contact with the other rebellions. Captain Gregg, Daniels led the largest counteroffensive yet. 5,000 resistance fighters struck at Dralaxian holdings across the former American Midwest. They carried the latest weapons Martinez's team had developed, including portable shield generators that could stop Dralaxian energy weapons. From his command vehicle, Daniels coordinated the attacks. All units remember the plan: hit and retreat. Don't stay in one place long enough for them to target you. The resistance had learned from months of fighting. They struck quickly, used their disruptors to disable Dralaxian systems, then moved on before reinforcements arrived. By the end of the day, they had reclaimed territory from Chicago to Kansas City. Zeravax watched the reports come in with growing rage. They are everywhere. How can they coordinate such attacks? His lieutenant looked nervous. Grand Marshal, we've detected a large energy signature in orbit around their moon. It appears to be a ship using our technology. Destroy it immediately. We can't, sir. It's already gone. It jumped to faster than light speed. Zeravax smashed his fist into a nearby console. Inform High Command. The humans have achieved space travel with our technology. This changes everything. In the darkness of space, the rebuilt UES Defiant accelerated away from Earth. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge watching his home planet shrink behind them. FTL drive is stable, reported the engineer at the console. We can make the jump whenever you're ready, sir. Carter looked at the small crew he had selected for this mission. 20 of Earth's best, including Martinez and Wright. The coordinates? From the Dralaxian communications, he asked. Locked in, sir. The Tharvos system. 3 weeks travel at our current capability. Carter nodded. Make the jump. It's time humanity introduced itself to the galaxy. As the stars blurred around them, Martinez joined Carter by the viewport. Do you think they'll help us? She asked quietly. I don't know, he admitted. But we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. If what Reeves discovered is true, the entire galaxy has been under the Empire's boot for too long. He turned to face the crew. We're going to change that, one planet at a time. The Defiant vanished into the depths of space, carrying with it humanity's technology, determination, and hope. Behind them, Earth continued its fight against an increasingly desperate empire. And for the first time since the invasion began, the balance of power was starting to shift. The UES Defiant dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Tharvos system. Admiral Carter felt the slight shudder as the ship returned to normal space. On the main view screen, a strange star with a blue-green tint glowed brightly, surrounded by 7 planets. Any signs of Dralaxian ships? Carter asked. Lieutenant Miller scanned the system. 2 patrol vessels near the 4th planet. They haven't spotted us yet. Martinez stood next to Carter, her eyes wide with wonder. We did it. We're actually in another star system. Let's hope the locals are friendly, Carter said. Take us in slowly, minimal power. We don't want to announce ourselves to those patrols. The Defiant moved cautiously toward the 4th planet, a large world covered in what looked like crystal formations. As they approached, Martinez studied the sensor readings. The entire planet's surface is crystalline, she said, and I'm detecting massive energy signatures beneath the surface. The Tharvos, Wright added. According to the Dralaxian records, they're a crystalline species. They built huge underground cities to hide from the Empire. A voice suddenly came through the ship's communication system. Unknown vessel. You are not Dralaxian. Identify yourself or be destroyed. Carter looked at his communications officer, in surprise. "They're speaking English?" "No, sir," the officer replied. "Our systems are translating. They're broadcasting on all frequencies in their native language." Carter nodded and stepped forward. "This is Admiral John Carter of the UES Defiant from Earth. We've come seeking allies against the Dralaxian Empire." There was a long silence. Then, "Approach these coordinates. Come alone and unarmed. If this is a trick, you will not leave our world alive." The Defiant landed at the designated location, a flat crystal plain with no visible structures. Carter, Martinez, and Wright stepped out of the ship, unarmed as requested. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ground beneath them began to shift. A large section of crystal slid open, revealing a tunnel leading deep underground. A being emerged, unlike anything they had seen before. It was roughly humanoid in shape but made entirely of blue-green crystal that glowed from within. "I am Zartal, Elder of the Tharvos," the being said, its voice creating strange echoes in the air. "You claim to fight the Empire, yet you use their technology." "We adapted it," Martinez explained. "The Dralaxians attacked our world 6 months ago. We've been fighting back ever since." Zartal's crystal body shifted, facets turning to catch the light differently. 6 months? And you have already reached the stars?" The crystal being made a sound like chimes in the wind. "The Dralaxians conquered us 2,000 years ago. We have been hiding ever since." Carter stepped forward. "We've discovered that other worlds are fighting back too. The Empire is stretched thin. Together we might have a chance to defeat them." Zartal was silent for a long moment. "Follow me. Our council must hear this." Deep beneath the crystal surface, the humans found an entire city carved from the living crystal of the planet. Thousands of Tharvos moved through vast chambers filled with technology that seemed to grow from the walls themselves. The Council of Elders sat in a circular chamber, 12 crystal beings of different colors and sizes. Carter told them about Earth's resistance, about the weaknesses they had discovered in Dralaxian technology, and about their quantum disruptors. When he finished, one of the elders spoke. "For centuries we have hidden. The few times we tried to fight back, the Empire used their planet killers. Entire worlds were destroyed as punishment. But you survived," Martinez said, "by appearing to submit," another elder explained, "while secretly preserving our knowledge and our people underground." Carter looked around the chamber. "The Empire is weaker than it wants anyone to believe. Their technology is failing. They can't repair their most advanced systems. That's why they keep conquering, to steal new technology." Zartal turned to the others. "If what these humans say is true, this may be our last chance. The Empire has never faced a coordinated rebellion across multiple systems." After hours of discussion, the council made their decision. "We will join your fight," Zartal announced, "and we offer you this." The elder extended a crystal hand, holding what looked like a small shard of the same material as their bodies. "This contains our quantum communication technology," Zartal explained. "It will allow you to contact other worlds instantly, regardless of distance. The Dralaxians have never been able to detect or intercept these communications." Martinez took the crystal carefully. "This could change everything." With the Tharvos technology installed on the Defiant, Carter's mission accelerated beyond what they had hoped. Over the next 2 months, they visited 6 more worlds, making contact with species the Dralaxians had conquered: the gaseous Nalarians, the insectoid Rek, the aquatic Moro, and others. Each had been fighting their own isolated battle against the Empire. On each world, they shared the designs for the quantum disruptors and established communication links. For the first time in thousands of years, the subjugated species of the galaxy could coordinate their efforts. Back on Earth, the war had intensified. Grand Marshal Ziravax, furious at the growing rebellion, ordered his forces to prepare the planet killers. "If the humans will not submit, they will be exterminated," he declared to his commanders. "Prepare the weapons for deployment." Lisa Reeves, still working undercover, heard the orders. She knew she had to act immediately. Using the skills she had learned over months of infiltration, she made her way to the command ship's main control center. The planet killer weapons required direct authorization from the command ship. If she could disable those systems, Earth would have time until Carter returned. Reeves planted small disruptors throughout the ship's critical systems. When they activated simultaneously, chaos erupted. Alarms blared, and Dralaxian soldiers rushed to respond to multiple system failures. In the confusion, Reeves made her way to the main weapon control room. She had only seconds before security arrived. Working quickly, she not only disabled the controls but downloaded the complete specifications of the planet killer weapons. As security forces burst into the room, she transmitted the data to Resistance headquarters using a quantum communicator Martinez had given her. Then she fought her way out, knowing her cover was now blown. Dr. Martinez received the transmission in the underground lab. When she saw the specifications of the planet killer weapons, she immediately called President Williams and the military leadership. "These aren't just weapons," she explained, pointing to the schematics. "They're quantum field generators similar to our disruptors, but thousands of times more powerful. They don't actually destroy planets. They disrupt all technology on the surface and in orbit." General Adams looked confused. "But the records say they've destroyed worlds." "No," Martinez said, her eyes bright with realization. "They've disabled worlds, made them appear lifeless by shutting down all technology. And I think we can modify them to target only Dralaxian systems." President Williams leaned forward. "You're saying we could use their own weapons against them? Disable their technology across entire systems without harming the planets?" Martinez nodded. "If we can capture one intact." Williams turned to the military commanders. "Then that's our priority now. Find those weapons and take one." As the meeting ended, a communication came through on the quantum link. Admiral Carter's face appeared on the screen. "Mr. President," he said, his image occasionally flickering, "the mission was successful. We've made contact with 12 species across 7 systems. They're all joining the fight." He smiled. "We're calling it the Galactic Freedom Coalition. And, sir, they're sending ships to help defend Earth." For the first time in months, President Williams smiled. "Tell them to hurry, Admiral. The final battle is about to begin." The sky above Earth filled with ships. Hundreds of vessels from a dozen different species arrived in the Sol system, answering humanity's call. The Tharvos sent crystal ships that glowed with inner light. The gaseous Nalarians arrived in sphere-shaped vessels that could change form. The insectoid wreck brought living ships grown from organic technology. In the lead was the UES Defiant, now bearing marks of its journey through the stars. Admiral Carter stood on the bridge, watching Earth grow larger on the view screen. "All Coalition vessels are in position," Lieutenant Miller reported. "The Dralaxians have detected us. Their fleet is moving to intercept." Carter nodded. "Open a channel to all ships." When the connection was ready, Carter spoke clearly and confidently. "This is Admiral Carter. Today we fight not just for Earth, but for every world that has suffered under the Empire. Remember the plan. Target their command ships first. Protect the modified planet killer at all costs. For freedom." Responses came in from across the fleet, each species adding their own battle cries. On the surface of Earth, Grand Marshal Zeravax received word of the approaching fleet with disbelief. "How many ships?" "Over 300, Grand Marshal. And they're not just human vessels. We're detecting Tharvos signatures, Nalarian, Vrek, and others we can't identify." Zeravax's yellow eyes narrowed. "So the humans have united our enemies. Launch all available ships. Target the Defiant first. And prepare a direct transmission to Dralaxa Prime. The Emperor must be informed." In orbit, the battle began. Dralaxian warships fired their energy weapons at the Coalition fleet. But the ships were prepared, using the improved disruptor technology, to protect themselves. The Coalition ships fired back, targeting the weak points in Dralaxian shields that Earth scientists had identified. On the Defiant, Martinez worked with Alan Wright and a team of alien scientists. Together, they had modified a captured planet killer weapon. Now it sat in the Defiant's cargo bay, ready for deployment. "Final calibrations complete," Martinez reported. The device is locked to the specific quantum frequency of Dralaxian technology. When activated, it will disable their systems but leave everyone else's technology intact. Range? Carter asked. The entire system initially, but we've designed it to propagate through their faster-than-light network. Theoretically, it could spread to every Dralaxian system in the galaxy. Carter's eyes widened. You're saying one activation could shut down their entire empire? Martinez nodded. That's the theory. But we need to get close enough to their main command ship. It has the strongest connection to their network. On Earth, resistance forces launched their final offensive. Captain Greg Daniels led 10,000 fighters against the Dralaxian headquarters in what was once Denver. President Williams himself joined the attack, refusing to stay in the safety of the bunker. If our people are fighting and dying, I will be with them, he said as he strapped on body armor. The battle was fierce. Dralaxian soldiers fought desperately, knowing they had nowhere to retreat. Zerovax commanded from the central building, sending wave after wave of troops against the humans. They cannot be allowed to win, he told his commanders. The Empire has never lost. It will not start today. In space, the battle turned in the Coalition's favor. The alien ships, each with their own unique technologies, confused the Dralaxian targeting systems. The Defiant led a strike team toward the massive Dralaxian command ship at the center of their fleet. We're taking heavy fire, Miller reported, as the ship shook from a near miss. Stay on course, Carter ordered. All ships concentrate fire on their forward shields. The Coalition ships fired together, creating a brief gap in the command ship's defenses. The Defiant slipped through, with 2 Tharvos vessels close behind for protection. We're in position, Carter said. Martinez right, it's time. In the cargo bay, Martinez activated the modified planet killer. The device hummed to life, glowing with blue-green energy. Targeting system locked on Dralaxian quantum frequency. Initiating in 3, 2, 1. The device fired, sending an invisible wave of energy toward the Dralaxian command ship. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then suddenly, the massive vessel went dark. Its weapons stopped firing. Its engines shut down. The effect spread quickly. Throughout the system, Dralaxian ships lost power. Their weapons, shields, and engines all failed simultaneously. On Earth, Zerovax was in the middle of ordering a final desperate attack when every piece of Dralaxian technology around him shut down. His armor went dark. The weapons his soldiers carried stopped working. Even the implants that helped them breathe Earth's atmosphere began to fail. What is happening? He demanded, but no one could answer. Without their technology, the Dralaxians were helpless. The effect didn't stop at the Sol system. Through the Dralaxian faster-than-light network, the disruption spread. On world after world, Dralaxian ships and bases lost power. The empire that had stood for thousands of years crumbled in minutes. In Denver, President Williams led the final push into the Dralaxian headquarters. They found Zerovax and his commanders trying desperately to restore power to their systems. It's over, Williams said. Your technology is gone. Your fleet is disabled. Earth is free. Zerovax looked at Williams with hatred and disbelief. Impossible. No species has ever defeated the Empire. We didn't do it alone, Williams replied. The galaxy united against you. On the Defiant, Carter received reports from across the galaxy. The quantum communicators lit up with messages of Dralaxian forces surrendering or retreating. It worked, Martinez said, her voice filled with wonder. Their entire network is down. Carter looked at the view screen, where Earth shone blue and green against the blackness of space. Send word to all Coalition ships. Tell them to spread the news to every world. The Empire has fallen. 1 month later, representatives from 24 species gathered in the rebuilt United Nations building in New York. The Tharvos, the Nalarians, the Rek, and many others stood alongside humans. At the center of the gathering stood a group of Dralaxians led by Krell and other defectors who had turned against the Empire. For too long, my people ruled through fear and conquest, Krell said. We forgot how to create, how to build. We only knew how to take. Today we ask to join your coalition not as conquerors but as equals, to learn again what we have forgotten. President Williams stepped forward. Earth knows what it means to face destruction and survive. We will not repeat the mistakes of the Empire. This coalition will be built on cooperation, not conquest. Admiral Carter, Dr. Martinez, and the others who had led the resistance stood together, watching as the treaty was signed. A new era had begun. Earth had refused to kneel, and now the Empire's planets were free. "What do we do now?" Martinez asked quietly. Carter smiled. "Now comes the interesting part. We explore. We learn. We build something better than what came before." Above them, the stars beckoned, not as conquests but as new frontiers. Humanity had faced its greatest challenge and survived. Now, alongside new allies, they would take their place among the stars.